Let's talk about zombies. Let's talk about you and me. Hi guys, it's me, Julian Greystoke. I'm wearing my strong female character shirt. We're gonna talk about zombies today. I love zombies, you guys. You don't understand. Many like vampires, many like werewolves. Many like vampires, many like werewolves, I like zombies. I already did one video talking about zombie tropes and archetypes. You can check it out below. It's a broader one talking about different types of zombie stories and how they're used. But today we're gonna go a little bit closer. We're gonna zoom in a little bit and talk about character archetypes that you find in zombie stories. So let's talk about the characters you meet in the zombie apocalypse. First of all, you're probably going to need a viewpoint character, and that tends to be the dangerous leader type. He's usually a cop, or a soldier, or an ex-cop, or an ex-soldier, or a CIA, or something like that. They tend to be male, they tend to be grizzled, they tend to be hyper-competent, and they tend to have soul pain. Now, this doesn't have to be the leader of your zombie story. In fact, it's often more interesting if it's not, but this is a character that you definitely meet in a lot of zombie stories, and they're often the main character. Now we'll talk about his counterpart, the dangerous asshole, who is very similar to the dangerous leader, except for this guy is a jerk. He's usually a racist or a sexist or something blanketly bad about him that makes him hateable. He's also usually hyper competent, and sometimes a direct mirror to our grizzled leader type. He makes a great foil for the grizzled leader because the leader doesn't want to kill him because the leader tends to be virtuous, so he can't get rid of him necessarily, but we are all cheering when this asshole gets eaten by zombies. The next person, or rather people, that you will meet in the zombie apocalypse are the breeding pair. Quite often you find a couple who are either dating or married or, fiancés in your zombie apocalypse. They usually don't make it through the whole story. At least one partner doesn't. A lot of times the breeding pair is used for the feels, where one or both of them will be killed off. Sometimes the main character can be a member of the breeding pair, and if that's the case, oftentimes there will be a secondary breeding pair as well that may start dating within the zombie apocalypse, within the story that you're writing. One of my favorite archetypes is that guy. That guy is the character who gets bitten and then doesn't tell anyone that he's been bitten. That guy is used to show the readers or the watchers or whatever how the zombie virus spreads. That guy is a plot point, but also he brings good the danger because he won't tell anyone that he's bitten until he's transforming into a zombie in their midst, and he may be able to get a bite in on some of the other characters before they take him down. He's a great way to build that feeling of danger. As Alfred Hitchcock has talked about, he's the bomb that we know is under the table and is going to explode at any moment. The next character that you meet is the nerd, or the quick-thinking teen character, who tends to be younger than the rest of the group, but also more savvy. This is the one who will manage to slip out of the zombie's grasp at the last second, and also will sometimes act as the guy in the chair if there is that possibility in your zombie story. Sometimes the savvy teen or the nerd is the main character, leaving the grizzled leader type to also be there but not necessarily be our viewpoint character. The next person that you meet in a zombie apocalypse is the little kid. They are not in every single story, but there often is a kid. The kid is usually the heart of the team, the one that everyone tries to help and save, and the one who gets grizzled and scarred himself throughout this story. The kid exists to be the voice of innocence, and we can watch that innocence be corrupted as more and more death surrounds this child. Plus, sometimes he's just used to show the situation is serious when they kill him off. And finally, the last main type of character, the type that you meet in almost every zombie apocalypse, is the dog or the horse. It's almost never a cat, and that's really disappointing. Many zombie stories have an animal who exists to be killed off. Thanks, I hate it. If you hate it as much as I do, you can check out my novella, The Gun Horse. It's over on Wattpad, available to read for free. It's about a horse and a dog in a zombie apocalypse, and they live, and they're useful. So go check that out if that interests you. Now there are some optional characters that you might also meet or include in your zombie apocalypse. Hey guys, this is the world's fastest reminder that you can support me on Patreon and see all kinds of exclusive videos like these ones. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Similar to the leader badass and the asshole badass, we have the loner badass. The loner badass will come in and out of the story, but not really stick with the main group of survivors. They like to appear at the last second to save the day and then disappear again. They're kind of like the Batman of the zombie apocalypse. Next we have the vengeful mother. Oftentimes the kid will be alone, but sometimes they come with a mother. And when the kid dies, that means mom gets to get real vengeful. A lot of times she can become a grizzled badass in her own right. By that same token, we often have the grizzled dad on an escort mission with his kid. That happens a lot. Sometimes we have an evil scientist. If the zombie virus was created on purpose, you might encounter a scientist who helped create it. A lot of times they pretend that they don't know anything about it, but really they're there to study the survivors or to sabotage the survivors. They're usually up to no good. And finally, someone you might meet in the zombie apocalypse is the family that is holed up somewhere. Usually they have a house or they're in an apartment. They often come earlier in the story if our main characters are on a zombie road trip story. A lot of the time our characters will move through, either because the people who are holed up in the house die, or because our main characters are trying to get somewhere, and so they stay there for a little while and then move on. An offshoot of this is the people holed up somewhere who are keeping zombies. This is a fairly common one. The survivors, your main characters, will find what seems to be a nice, safe place to stay until they realize that the people there are crazy and keeping their zombified relatives chained up in the barn. There you go, those are my zombie archetypes, people that you might meet in your zombie apocalypse. Do any of those characters intrigue you for writing them? And remember that just because these are archetypes doesn't mean you need to stick to them rigidly. Many of these are used as a jumping off point to make more interesting characters. But they are useful as a place to start when you're writing your zombie story. However, you do want to watch out that you don't stick too rigidly to these archetypes because you can use them as a crutch and not write deep characters as a result, and you want those deep characters, trust me. Zombie stories tend to be character driven, and so you want to make sure that these characters aren't just their archetypes. In other news, there's a cute little chickadee outside my window, and he's just like cleaning his feet as he sits on a branch, and he is just fucking adorable. I love chickadees. Okay guys, what did you think of this video? Comment below and let me know. If you have any other zombie characters that you often see in zombie media, please do leave them in the comments. Is there an archetype that you love to use? Do you, like me, still love zombie stories? I need to know. Are there other people who also like zombie stories? Because I still love them. I'm a zombie hipster. I'm like, I liked zombies before they were cool, I like them now. After they're not cool anymore. Don't forget to watch my first video about zombies as well, if you haven't. Otherwise, feel free to wander this channel. There is a ton of content on here, all arranged in nice little playlists for you, for easy binging. If you want even more, you can hop on over to my Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can have access to exclusive videos that are not seen here on the regular channel. All the links to my social media are where? In the doobly-doo, right! I post new videos Mondays and Fridays, and I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! What time is it? It's time to shout out my amazing patrons of the month. This month we have Lennox, Amanda, Baruch, Irene, Jenny, Kim, Lisa, Sabby Panda, Sarah, Savvy, and Scribbling Cat. You guys are the very best. I don't know what I would do without your support. It's so encouraging to me that you guys are continuing to support me on Patreon. You guys rock.